The sky burned red above what remained of Seoul. Dodd Park watched from the hilltop as the last colony ship, Chimera stood tall on its launch pad. Its metal skin gleamed despite the smoke and ash that filled the air. Soon it would carry the last hope of humanity to the stars. At Dae's feet, Jindo sniffed the air. The creature looked like a hyena, but with smooth skin where eyes should have been. Instead of sight, Jindo had other gifts. He could smell radiation, feel electromagnetic waves, and sense things no human could. "What is it, boy?" Dae asked, kneeling beside his companion. The animal growled low, turning its head toward the eastern sky. Moments later, Dae heard it too, the deep, thrumming sound of void ships entering the atmosphere. The aliens had found them again. In the distance, sirens began to wail. Captain Hannah Kim stood on the bridge of the Chimera hands steady as she reviewed the launch sequence. At 32, she was young to command humanity's last escape vessel, but no one could fly like she could. The ship was her steel beast, an extension of herself. "Captain, we have incoming void ships," said Sun, her communications officer. "Defense Council says we need to launch now." Hannah's jaw tightened. How many people are still waiting to board? "About 200, but..." "Then we wait," Hannah said firmly. 200 more humans means 200 more chances for our species. Jin, the security chief, stepped forward. "Captain, with all respect, we have 10,000 people already on board. The void will destroy us all if we don't leave now." Hannah looked at the screen showing the crowd still pushing toward the ship. Parents holding children, elderly helped by the young. Each face filled with desperate hope. "Prepare defensive systems," she ordered instead. "We hold for 20 more minutes." Dae ran through the crowded streets, Jindo keeping pace beside him. His bag held only the essentials, his tools, some clothes, and the special food Jindo needed. Everything else from his 30 years of life had been left behind. He wasn't supposed to be on the Chimera. His name had been left off the final list. But yesterday, an official had come to his lab with urgent news. They needed his skills. More importantly, they needed Jindo. The bioengineered animals Dad worked with could detect dangers no machine could sense. After 3 colony ships had been lost to unknown causes, the Defense Council finally admitted they needed something beyond technology to survive. Dae reached the security checkpoint, breathing hard. People pushed and shoved around him. Guards with weapons kept the crowd from rushing forward. "Park Dae, engineering section," he gasped, showing his ID. "This is Jindo, Special Bio Unit 6. The guard checked her tablet. "You're late. The captain almost left without you." "There are void ships coming," Dae said. The guard's face paled. "Move through quickly." On the bridge, Hannah watched the sky darken as 5 massive void ships emerged from the clouds. Their black, jagged forms blocked the light, casting long shadows over the launch pad. "Launch window closing in 5 minutes," the ship's AI announced. "Void weaponry powering up." Hannah's hands flew over the controls, preparing the Chimera's experimental shields. The ship wasn't just a transport vessel, it was humanity's most advanced weapon. "Where's that engineer?" she demanded. "The one with the animal." "Just boarded," Jin replied. "That's everyone we can take." Hannah nodded and opened the ship-wide channel. "All hands, secure for launch and possible combat. This isn't going to be a smooth ride." As the first void energy beams struck nearby, shaking the ground, Hannah felt a strange calm. She had trained her whole life for this moment. While Earth burned around them, she would guide her steel chimera to the stars, carrying the remains of humanity to a new home. She didn't know then that the quiet engineer with his eyeless companion would change everything she thought she knew about survival. The Chimera shook as the first void weapons hit Earth's defense shield. Dae held onto Jindo tightly as they were rushed to the engineering section. "Keep that animal under control. A guard shouted as they moved through crowded hallways. Scared faces looked at them from all sides. 10,000 people packed into the ship, each one carrying the weight of billions left behind. Dag whispered to Jindo, "It's okay. We're safe now." But the hyena would not calm down. Its hairless body trembled, and it kept turning its head as if searching for something it could not see. On the bridge, Hannah made a decision that shocked everyone. "We're not running," she said, her voice firm. "Not yet." Jin stepped forward. "Captain, our orders are to leave immediately." "Look." Hannah pointed to the screen showing 5 void ships approaching. Behind them, dozens more were appearing. "They're heading for the southern shelter cities. Millions of people are there." "We can't save them," Sun said quietly. "No," Hannah agreed, "but we can buy them time to reach the underground bunkers." She turned to the weapons officer. "Prepare the main cannon. We'll show the Void what humans can do." The Chimera wasn't just a colony ship. It had been built with Earth's most powerful weapon, a gravity lance that could tear apart even void ships. The problem was that using it drained massive power and would delay their escape. As Dai was shown to his workstation, the ship's engines roared to life. But instead of heading up to space, the Chimera rose and turned toward the approaching aliens. "What's happening?" Dai asked a nearby engineer. The woman looked grim. "The captain is fighting back." Over the speakers, Hannah's voice rang out. "This is Captain Kim to all crew. Prepare for battle. We stand for Earth one last time." Jindo suddenly pulled away from Dai, running to a wall panel. The hyena pressed its nose against the metal and made a high whining sound. "Get that thing away from there," shouted the section chief. But Dai knew Jindo's behaviors. "Wait. He senses something." He pulled out a scanner from his bag and checked the readings. "There's an unusual energy pattern here. It's not on any of our standard sensors." The chief looked skeptical, but checked his own screens. "Nothing shows up." "That's why we need Jindo," Dad explained. "The void technology operates on principles our instruments can't detect, but the bioengineered animals can feel it." He quickly connected his tablet to the ship's system. "Captain, this is Engineer Park. I'm sending you readings from my companion. The void ships have a weakness at their core junctions. If you target there, it might be more effective." Hannah received the data as the Chimera faced the alien fleet. The void ships were massive black shapes that seemed to absorb light itself. Her hands gripped the controls tightly. "This engineer better be right," she muttered, then ordered, "Target the lead ship at these coordinates." The gravity lance powered up, drawing energy from throughout the ship. Lights dimmed, and for a moment everything seemed to pause. Then a brilliant blue beam shot from the Chimera hitting the lead void ship exactly where Dai had indicated. For a second, nothing happened. Then cracks of light spread across the alien vessel before it broke apart in a silent explosion. "It worked," Sun shouted. Hannah allowed herself a small smile. "Target the next one." They managed to destroy 2 more ships before alarms blared across the bridge. "Our shields are failing," Jin reported, "and 3 more fleets are approaching from orbit." Hannah knew they had done all they could. "Send the message to the shelter cities. They have their extra time." She took a deep breath. "Now, get us off this planet." As the Chimera finally turned skyward, breaking through the atmosphere, Dad looked out a small window at the burning Earth below. Jindo pressed against his leg, making that strange whining sound again. "I know," Dad said softly. "Something's not right." The hyena wasn't reacting to what they were leaving behind. It was sensing something on the ship itself. As the stars appeared around them, Dad realized this was only the beginning of their fight. Somehow, the Void had already found a way aboard. 3 months had passed since Earth disappeared from view. The Chimera moved through the emptiness of space, carrying the last 10,000 humans toward their new home. The planet called Haven was still 6 months away. Life on the ship fell into a routine. People worked, ate, slept, and tried not to think about everything they had lost. Captain Hyena spent most of her time on the bridge, watching over her steel beast as it carried them through the stars. But all was not well. "Captain, we have another system failure in Section 4, Sun reported one morning. "That's the third this week." Hyena frowned. "What's causing it?" "Engineers can't find the source," Jin said. "It's like the systems are just deciding to stop working." Hyena stood up from her chair. "Show me." In the lower decks, Dai walked with Jindo through the narrow hallways. The Hyena had been restless lately, leading Dai to different parts of the ship. Today, they were checking the air recycling systems. "Hey, Park," called out a voice. It was Ta, another engineer. "Your weird pet sensing anything useful, or just wasting our oxygen?" Some of the crew still didn't understand why an animal was allowed on the last human ship. Resources were limited, and every bit of food and air was precious. "Jindo uses less oxygen than a small child," Daz said calmly. "And he's found 3 radiation leaks that our sensors missed." Ta shrugged and walked away. Moments later, the lights flickered. Jindo suddenly froze, his head turning toward a nearby wall panel. The Hyena's muscles tensed, and a low growl came from his throat. Dad kneeled beside him. "What is it, boy?" He opened the panel and scanned inside with his tools. The readings showed nothing unusual, but Jindo wouldn't move away. Dad looked closer and noticed something strange. Tiny specks of what looked like black dust gathered near one of the circuit boards. Carefully, he collected a sample in a small container. Captain Hyena stood in the medical lab with Dr. Moon as they examined a patient. The woman lay on the bed, staring at nothing, her body completely still. "This is the 5th case this week," Dr. Moon said quietly. They all showed the same symptoms: confusion, then paranoia, then this. The patient had been a teacher. Yesterday, she had tried to open an airlock, claiming the ship was infected and they needed to clean it. Now she barely seemed alive. "Is it a virus?" Hyena asked. "No signs of any disease," Dr. Moon said. "My best guess is some kind of space madness from being confined too long, but it's happening faster than it should." Hannah's tablet beeped with a message. It was from Park, requesting an urgent meeting. "You found what?" Hyena asked, looking at the small container on the table. "I'm not sure what it is yet," Dad explained. "But Jindo keeps detecting it near system failures. It looks like dust, but..." He paused. "When I put it under a microscope, it moves." He showed her the images on his tablet. The black specks weren't just dust. They were tiny machines, smaller than a human cell. "Nanobots," Hana whispered. "I think so," Da nodded. "But not ours. I've checked every inventory. This technology isn't human." Jindo paced anxiously by the door, his head turning as if tracking something they couldn't see. "You think the Void put these on our ship?" Hana asked. "They must have. Maybe during the battle, or even before. These things could have been on Earth for months before we left." Da looked at his companion. "Jindo can sense them because they give off a very specific electromagnetic field. Our regular sensors aren't designed to detect it." Hannah's mind raced. The system failures, the sick people, could these things be causing all of it? "I believe so," Daz said. "And I think they're spreading." A ship-wide alarm suddenly blared. Jin's voice came over the speakers. "Captain, to the bridge immediately. We have multiple system failures, and Captain, someone has taken control of the main engine room." Hana and Dad exchanged a look of understanding. This wasn't just about system failures anymore. The Void wasn't just chasing them. It was already here, inside the Chimera, inside their last safe place. "Come with me," Hana said to Da, "and bring Jindo. If these nanobots are Void technology, your companion may be our only way to fight them." As they rushed to the bridge, the lights continued to flicker throughout the ship. In the darkness between flashes, no one noticed the thin black lines beginning to spread across the walls, like veins in a living thing. Hyena and Dai ran to the bridge with Jindo racing ahead. When they arrived, chaos filled the room. Screens flashed with warnings. People shouted over each other. "Report," Hyena ordered, taking her command seat. Jin turned to her. "Engine control is locked out. Life support is failing in 3 sections, and communications just went down." "What about the people in the engine room?" Hyena asked. 4 engineers, Sun answered. "They barricaded themselves inside. They're not responding to calls." Hyena looked at Da. Could those nanobots be controlling them? "Maybe," Da said. "The sick people in medical, they all work near systems where Jindo sensed the nanobots." Jindo suddenly growled, staring at a wall panel near Sun's station. The hyena's lips pulled back, showing teeth. "Everyone away from that panel," Da warned. Hyena ordered, "Open it." When Jin removed the cover, they all saw it, thin black lines spreading across the circuits like tiny veins. As they watched, the lines moved, growing longer. "It's spreading through the whole ship," Da said quietly, "using our own systems as a highway." Hyena gathered her most trusted crew in a small room away from the main systems. No computers, no screens, no technology that could be infected. "We need to understand what we're fighting," she said. "Dai, explain what you know." Day stood with Jindo at his side. "The nanobots aren't just machines. They're learning. They're connecting to each other, forming a network. I think they're building a mind." "Like an eye?" asked Dr. Moon. "No," Dai shook his head. "Like the void itself. I think the void isn't just an alien species. It's a technological parasite. It spreads by infecting both machines and living beings, linking them together. That's why it came after us," Jin realized. "Humans blend biology and technology more than any other species we know of." Hyena touched the small implant behind her ear, the neural link that helped her control the ship. Nearly every crew member had similar technology in their bodies. "Can we remove the nanobots?" she asked. "Not without shutting down every system on the ship," Day replied. "And maybe not even then. They've already infected some of the crew." "So what do we do?" Sun asked, fear in her voice. Hyena stood straighter. "We fight." In his small lab, Dai worked through the night. He examined blood samples from infected crew members under a microscope. The nanobots were there, moving through their bodies, connecting to their neural implants. Jindo sat alert beside him, occasionally growling at nothing visible. "What can you sense that I can't?" Dai whispered to his companion. On a hunch, he compared blood samples. The infected crew all had high-level neural implants, but when he checked his own blood, nothing. Da had refused most technological enhancements, relying instead on his bond with Jindo. He rushed to find Hyena. "Captain," Da said when he found her in her quarters, "I know why some people are resistant." Hyena looked up from her maps. Since the takeover attempt, she'd been planning manual navigation routes, using paper and pen. "The nanobots target our technology first," Da explained. "People with fewer implants show more resistance." Hyena thought about this. "That's why you're not affected." "Exactly," Da nodded. "I never liked putting machines in my body. I preferred working with Jindo." "And the hyena?" Hyena asked. "Bioengineered but without technological components. Purely organic." Hyena stood and paced the small room. "So the more natural we are, the safer we are." "I think there's more," Da said. "The void is about assimilation, making everything part of itself. But humans form partnerships instead. My connection with Jindo isn't about control. It's about cooperation between different species." Jindo made a soft sound as if agreeing. "You're saying our relationships are the key?" Hyena asked. "The void can't understand symbiosis," Dad explained. "It only knows how to consume and control. But humans know how to work together with other species to form bonds that make both stronger. For the first time in days, Hannah felt a spark of hope. She looked at Da and his faithful companion. So we need less technology and more companions. Exactly, Da smiled. And I might know how to create more like Jindo. Before they could discuss further, Jin burst into the room. Captain, a void ship just appeared on our long-range sensors. It's heading straight for us. Hannah's face hardened. How long do we have? 3 days, maybe less. Then we work fast, Hannah said, looking at Da. Get started on your plan. I need to prepare the Chimera for a fight like she's never seen. Da worked without stopping. In the ship's small lab, he used samples from Jindo to create more bioengineered companions. The hyena watched with his head tilted, sensing things no one else could. Will this really work? Dr. Moon asked as she helped him. It has to, Da said. In growth tanks around them, small creatures began to form, some like dogs, others like cats or small monkeys, but all without eyes. Like Jindo, they would see the world through other senses. On the other side of the lab, engineers worked to remove neural implants from volunteers. It was painful and dangerous. But people lined up anyway. The word had spread. Technology made them targets. Hannah stood in the middle of the bridge. Around her, crew members were taking out screens and replacing them with simple controls. Others painted lines on the floor and walls in different colors. This looks like we're going backward in time, Jin said as he watched. Sometimes forward isn't the only way to survive, Hannah replied. She had removed her own neural implant that morning. Her head still ached, and controlling the ship felt strange now, like trying to walk after sitting for too long. How many systems have we converted to manual? She asked. About 60%, Jin answered. Life support and navigation are now basic mechanical systems. No computers running them. And the infected areas? Sealed off, but the nanobots are still spreading through the electrical systems. Hannah nodded. Then we moved to the next phase. Cut power to all non-essential sections. In the darkened hallways, Da released the first batch of new companions. 10 small creatures, each one designed to detect and disrupt the void nanobots. They scurried through vents and crawled along walls, following the trails that only they could sense. Jindo led them, the first of his kind, teaching the others. Da followed behind with a small team. They carried no technology, only simple tools and containers to collect the nanobots. There, Da pointed, as one of the cat-like creatures stopped at a junction box. Its fur stood on end as it pawed at the metal. The team opened the box carefully. Inside, the black veins of nanobots had formed a dense nest. Using glass tools, they scraped the material into sealed jars. They're gathering at power sources, one engineer observed. They need energy to grow, Da explained. Cut off their power, and they slow down. In her quarters, Hannah studied old navigation charts by lamplight. Without computers, they would have to plot their course, the way sailors did centuries ago. A knock came at her door. It was Sun. Captain, you need to see this. She led Hannah to the observation deck. Through the large window, they could see the stars. And something else. A dark shape moved against the blackness, visible only when it blocked the stars behind it. The void ship, Hannah whispered. It's already here. But our sensors didn't detect it until today. Sun said, confused. Because it wasn't a ship before, Hannah realized. It was just nanobots, floating in space. They'd been gathering and building themselves into a ship. She rushed back to find Da. Their evolution made conscious, Da said when Hannah explained what she had seen. The void doesn't build ships, it becomes them. They stood in a small room with maps spread across tables. Around them, the new bio-companions rested in cages. Can we fight something like that? Hannah asked. Maybe we don't have to fight in the way we think, Da replied. The nanobots we've collected, I've been studying them. They communicate with each other using patterns similar to our own neural signals. You mean they talk to each other? Jin asked. In a way, Da nodded. And if they can talk, maybe we can talk back. Negotiate with nanobots. Hyena sounded skeptical. Not exactly. Dai stroked Jindo's head. But Jindo can sense their signals. What if we could use him as a translator? Not to talk with the nanobots, but with the intelligence controlling them. The idea was wild, dangerous. But as the ship's lights flickered again, Hyena knew they were running out of options. How would it work? She asked. I'd need to connect Jindo to one of our few remaining systems, create an interface between his brain and the void network. Would it hurt him? Hyena asked, seeing Dai's concern for his companion. I don't know, Dai admitted, but he's willing to try. As if understanding, Jindo pressed closer to Dai's side. Captain, a voice called from the hallway. A crew member rushed in. The void ship is moving. It's taking position directly above us. Hyena looked at Dai and Jindo. We're out of time. Let's do it. The small lab hummed with nervous energy as Dai made final adjustments to the interface. Jindo sat calmly on a table, seeming to understand the importance of what was happening. This will let us see what Jindo senses, Dad explained to Hyena and the others. It's a simple system, with minimal technology, just enough to translate his brain patterns into images we can understand. The device looked primitive, wires connected to a metal band around Jindo's head, leading to a small screen. Nothing like the sleek equipment they had used on Earth. And the void nanobots won't be able to infect it? Hyena asked. It's too simple for them to take over, Dai said. Like trying to hack a rock. A loud boom shook the ship. Everyone grabbed onto something to stay standing. They're attacking. Jin's voice came through on a simple radio. Hyena grabbed the radio. Hold position. Don't fire back yet. She looked at Dai. We need to hurry. On the bridge, Jin watched as the void ship changed shape. Parts of it extended toward the Chimera like black tentacles reaching through space. What is it doing? Sun whispered beside him. Through the window, they could see the dark mass spreading, surrounding their ship. But it wasn't attacking, at least not with weapons they understood. It's looking for a way in, Jin realized, searching for access points. Dai carefully placed the band around Jindo's head. The hyena remained still, trusting his human completely. Ready? Dai asked his companion. Jindo made a soft sound. Dai flipped the switch. The small screen flickered to life, showing blurry patterns that slowly formed into clearer shapes. At first, they made no sense, just swirls of light and shadow. But then patterns emerged. What are we seeing? Hyena asked, leaning closer. This is how Jindo perceives the nanobots, Dai explained. He senses their electromagnetic fields, their movements, their connections. On the screen, a vast network appeared, countless tiny dots connected by lines, constantly shifting and growing. It looked like stars and galaxies in motion. It's beautiful, Dr. Moon whispered. And deadly, Dai added. This is the void's true form, a hive of nanobots working together as one mind. Hyena studied the patterns. Can we communicate with it? I think so. Dai adjusted some controls. Jindo can sense its patterns. If we send signals back using the same patterns. Another shake rocked the ship, harder this time. In space around the Chimera the void ship continued to change. Its black mass now completely surrounded the human vessel, like a dark cloud blocking out the stars. Inside the ship, in sealed sections where the infection was strongest, black veins on the walls pulsed with energy. Screens flickered on by themselves, showing strange symbols. The few crew members who had refused to remove their implants now walked stiffly through hallways, their eyes dark, their movements jerky. The void was taking control from within and without. It's working. Dai's voice rose with excitement. On the screen, Jindo's translations showed the nanobot network responding to their signals. What are we saying to it? Hannah asked. Not words exactly, Day explained. More like feelings, intentions. We're telling it we want to communicate, not fight. The screen flickered as new patterns formed. Jindo growled softly. It's responding, Daz said. But I don't think it understands. The patterns are chaotic. Another boom shook the ship, much stronger than before. Emergency lights flashed. We've lost the outer hull in Section 3, came Jin's voice over the radio. It's breaking through. Hannah grabbed Da's arm. We need to do more than talk. We need to act now. Da looked at his companion, then at the newly created bioengineered animals waiting in their cages. Release them all, he said, and prepare the Chimera for manual control. I have an idea. Hannah returned to the bridge and took her place at the controls. Without her neural implant, she had to use her hands to fly the ship. It felt strange, but also more real. All stations, prepare for emergency maneuvers, she ordered. Throughout the ship, Dai and his team released the bioengineered companions. Dozens of them raced through hallways and crawled through vents. Led by Jindo, they sought out the nanobots, disrupting their patterns with their own biological fields. In the lab, Dai watched the screen as Jindo's perceptions showed something unexpected. The vast network of the void was changing, responding to the presence of the biocom. Then let's give them a real reason to break apart, she said. Hold on tight. Hannah's hands moved across the manual controls with practiced skill. The Chimera responded, not as quickly as with the neural link, but with a different kind of connection. She could feel the ship through the vibrations in the metal, the slight resistance in the controls. All power to the engines, she ordered. We're going to spin. Spin. Sun looked shocked. The whole ship. The void has wrapped around us, Hannah explained. So we become a drill. The massive engines of the Chimera roared to life. The ship began to turn, slowly at first, then faster. The strange shape of the colony vessel, with its long body and wide back engines, made it look like a giant drill bit as it spun. Outside, the black mass of the void ship was caught off guard. It had spread itself thin to surround the human vessel. Now, as the Chimera spun, it tore through the nanobots like a knife through spider webs. Deep in the ship, Day ran with Jindo through the corridors. The spinning made it hard to stay upright, but they had work to do. All around them, the bio-companions were hunting down pockets of nanobots. To Section 5, Dag called to his team. We need to secure the captured void technology. During the first attack, they had managed to trap a small part of the void ship, a piece of its outer hull that broke off. It was the most intact void technology humans had ever obtained. When they reached the sealed lab, Dai saw the black material pulsing in its container. Despite being cut off from the main void consciousness, it was still active. Captain, he called Hannah on the radio. I think I can understand how they communicate now. Jindo is showing me patterns I recognize. Can you use it? Hannah's voice came back, strained as she fought to control the spinning ship. Maybe, Daz said. I need to try something risky. On the bridge, alarms blared as the ship continued its wild spin. The hull groaned under the pressure. We can't keep this up much longer, Jin warned. The structure will fail. Through the windows, they could see pieces of the void ship breaking apart, scattering into space. But the main mass was already reforming, learning from its mistake. It's adapting, Hannah realized. We need something else. Her radio crackled. Captain, Day's voice came through. I'm going to connect Jindo directly to the void sample. If I'm right, he can show us not just how they communicate, but what they're saying. Is that safe? Hannah asked. There was a pause. No, but it's our best chance. In the lab, Dag carefully connected Jindo to both the interface and the container holding the void sample. The hyena stood calmly, trusting his human completely. Ready, boy, Dag whispered. Jindo made a soft sound of agreement. Day activated the connection. On the screen, new patterns exploded into view. Complex, beautiful, alien. Jindo stiffened, then relaxed as he processed the flood of information. What's happening? Dr. Moon asked nervously. He's learning their language, Daz said, watching in wonder. And they're learning his. The patterns on the screen shifted, forming structures that looked almost like words, then like images. Scenes from Earth appeared, then views of space, then strange landscapes that must be the Void's home world. They're not evil, Day realized suddenly. They're curious. They don't understand individual consciousness. To them, we're just noise, chaos. They've killed billions of us, Dr. Moon reminded him. Not killed. Absorbed, Dag corrected. They think they're helping, bringing order to what they see as disorder. The ship shuddered again as Hyena continued her desperate maneuvers. Through his connection with Jindo, Da began to understand more. The Void is ancient, older than humans can imagine. They evolved beyond individual bodies, becoming a collective of nanomachines. But they lost something in the process. What did they lose? Dr. Moon asked. Relationships, Day said simply. The space between minds where new ideas are born. They see our individualism as inefficient, but they don't understand that our connections, like mine with Jindo, create something greater than either of us alone. Day touched his radio. Captain, I need to go to them. To show them directly. Go to them. Hannah's voice crackled. That's suicide. Not with Jindo, Daz said. He can translate. We can show them what they've forgotten. The power of connection without assimilation. A huge crash shook the ship. Hannah's voice came back urgently. They've changed tactics. They're forming a solid mass and ramming us now. We can't hold out much longer. Day looked at Jindo, who stared back with his eyeless face. Somehow, Dai knew his companion agreed. Prepare a shuttle, he told Dr. Moon. Jindo and I are going to meet the Void. The small shuttle left the Chimera with a gentle push. Inside, Dai sat with Jindo beside him, both connected to the simple interface. The screen showed the ever-changing patterns of the Void's communications. Are you sure about this? Hannah's voice came through the radio. She had tried to stop him, but finally understood this might be their only chance. No, Dai answered honestly. But Jindo is. That's enough for me. The shuttle moved slowly toward the reforming Void ship. The black mass had pulled back from the Chimera after Hannah's spinning attack, but it was growing again, gathering its scattered parts. If I don't come back, Daz said, you need to keep going to Haven. Save what's left of humanity. We'll wait 24 hours, Hannah replied. Not a minute longer. The radio went quiet as the shuttle drifted closer to the alien vessel. On the bridge of the Chimera Hannah watched through the window as the tiny shuttle approached the massive dark shape. Her hands gripped the edge of the control panel so hard her knuckles turned white. Is he crazy? Jin asked beside her. Maybe, Hannah said. Or maybe he understands something we don't. All her life, Hannah had trusted technology, her ship, her implants, her weapons. Now she was putting her faith in a man and his eyeless animal companion. It felt wrong, yet somehow right. Keep weapons ready, she ordered, but hold fire unless I command it. As the shuttle neared the Void ship, the black mass began to change. It formed a kind of opening, like a mouth in space. They're inviting us in, Daz said to Jindo. The hyena made a low sound that wasn't quite fear, but caution. Through the simple interface, Dad could see the patterns changing, becoming more orderly. The Void was focusing its attention on them. The shuttle entered the opening, and darkness surrounded them. Through the window, Dad could see only black walls that seemed to shift and move. The shuttle's lights barely cut through the gloom. Suddenly, the walls around them lit up with patterns of light. The same patterns Jindo had shown on the screen, but massive and all around them. They're talking to us, Dai whispered. Jindo stood alert, his head moving as if looking at the lights despite having no eyes. Through their connection, Dai felt a strange new sensation, like his mind was stretching beyond his body. The interface screen changed, showing images and feelings rather than patterns. Daz saw vast networks of nanobots spreading across galaxies. He felt the ancient loneliness of a consciousness so large it could barely remember being small. "You've been alone," Daz said aloud. "For so long, you forgot what it was like to be separate, to be one among many." The patterns shifted again. Dai felt a question forming in his mind. Why stay separate when together is stronger? Because difference creates something new, Dai answered. Look at Jindo and me. Through the interface, he shared the history of his bond with the hyena, how they had learned from each other, grown together while remaining separate beings. The lights pulsed faster. More images flooded the screen. Planets consumed, species absorbed, all becoming part of the void. We make them perfect, came the thought. You make them gone, Dag countered. There's no growth in perfect sameness. Jindo growled softly, adding his own thoughts to the exchange. Dai felt his companion's simple wisdom flowing through their connection. The joy of running together, hunting together, living together, yet still being distinct. The shuttle shook as the void ship seemed to tremble around them. The patterns of light became chaotic, conflicted. Pain. Came a new thought. Separation is pain. Yes, Dai agreed, but also joy, growth, love. The words seemed to echo in the strange face. The void had no concept like it. Connection without consumption, sharing without assimilation. Suddenly, the shuttle's systems went dead. The lights, the engines, everything stopped. Even the interface connecting Da to Jindo shut down. In the darkness, Dai felt something new touching his mind. Not through technology, but directly. The void was reaching for him, trying to understand. Then, pain exploded through Da's body. He screamed as the void consciousness pushed into his mind, too vast for a human brain to contain. The last thing he saw before losing consciousness was Jindo standing over him protectively, growling at the darkness that surrounded them. 23 hours had passed since Dai and Jindo entered the void ship. On the bridge of the Chimera Hannah watched the clock with growing tension. 1 hour left, Jin reminded her quietly. I know, Hannah said. She hadn't slept since Dad left. Her eyes never left the dark mass floating in space before them. Captain, Sun called suddenly. Something's happening. The void ship was changing again. Its black surface rippled and shifted. A small opening appeared, the same one that had swallowed Da's shuttle. Weapons ready, Hannah ordered, her voice tight. A small object emerged from the opening. At first, Hannah thought it was the shuttle returning. But as it came closer, she saw it was something else. A sphere of swirling black and silver, moving smoothly through space toward them. What is that? Sun whispered. Before anyone could answer, the sphere stopped a short distance from the Chimera. Its surface parted, revealing Da's shuttle inside, intact but changed. Dark lines ran across its surface, similar to the void nanobots but somehow different, more ordered, more deliberate. Open a channel, Hannah said, her heart racing. The radio crackled, then cleared. Captain Kim, Da's voice came through, sounding tired but alive. Permission to return home. Relief flooded through Hannah. Granted. But what happened? Are you? There was a pause. I'm still me, but also more. Please, let me explain in person. When the shuttle docked, Hannah met it with a security team. The door opened slowly. Jindo came out first, the blind hyena moving confidently. Behind him walked Da, but changed. Fine lines of silver and black ran across his skin like delicate tattoos. His eyes had a strange depth to them, as if looking at more than what was physically present. Don't be afraid, Daz said as the security team raised their weapons. It's still me. Jindo went to the guards, letting them touch him, showing he was still the same animal they knew. Somehow, this calmed them more than words could have. "What happened to you?" Hannah asked, stepping forward. "I almost died," Dad said simply. "The void mind was too vast for a human brain. But Jindo found a way to save me, to save both of us." In the meeting room, Day explained to Hannah and the others what had happened. As he spoke, the silver-black lines on his skin moved slightly, like living things. "The void tried to absorb me completely," he said. "But Jindo showed them another way. Instead of one consuming the other, we could share, connect without losing ourselves." He reached down to stroke Jindo's head. The hyena leaned into his touch. "These lines on my skin are void nanobots, but reprogrammed. They don't control me. We work together. They expand what I can perceive, and I teach them what it means to be individual." "And the void ship?" Jin asked cautiously. "Changed forever," Day replied. "The void is ancient and vast, but it had forgotten its beginnings when it was many instead of one. Now, part of it remembers." Hannah looked skeptical. "So they'll leave us alone now?" "Better," Daz smiled. "They'll help us, in exchange for learning from us." "Learning what?" Dr. Moon asked. "How to be connected without being the same, how to love without possessing." Day's eyes met Hannah's. They'd never seen anything like humanity's bonds, with each other, with our companions, even with our machines. "You trust them?" Hannah asked, her voice low. "I understand them," Dad corrected. "And they understand us, finally." 3 weeks later, the Chimera approached Haven, the planet that would be humanity's new home. But they were not alone. The void ship traveled beside them, transformed. Its once featureless black mass now showed patterns and structures, hints of individual parts working together rather than a single consuming whole. On the observation deck, Hannah stood with Dai and Jindo, watching as both ships began the approach to the blue-green world below. "I still can't believe it worked," Hannah said. "One man and his dog saved humanity." "Not a dog," Dad corrected with a smile. "A blind hyena. And we didn't save humanity alone. We all did it together. That's the point." Jindo made a soft sound of agreement. The hyena could now see more than ever before, thanks to a careful symbiosis with a small colony of reprogrammed nanobots. "Will you change too?" Dai asked. Looking at Hannah, she touched the Chimera's control panel. Since removing her neural implant, she had learned to fly the ship differently, not by becoming one with it, but by working alongside it. "I already have," she said. "We all have." As they entered orbit around Haven, Hannah understood what Dai had shown the void. And what he had shown her too. True strength wasn't in perfect control or complete unity. It was in the spaces between, in the connections that let each part remain whole while becoming more together. She rode her chimera of steel. He walked with his blind hyena. Two paths of human ingenuity that together had opened a new future not just for humanity, but for one of the oldest minds in the universe. And as the first shuttles began the descent to their new home, Hannah knew that whatever waited for them on Haven, they would face it not as one, but as many, connected, diverse, and stronger for it.